So, get my microphone a moment. That was a bit daft. There we go. It's attached now to my clothing. Um, yes, I need to look for something a moment. Oh, okay. So I hope that people find me here. I really do. I'm looking for. Got. I don't know about that. Right. Okay. That dashboard. Share. Brilliant. Right. Let's have a look. If you pop in now, I'm just sharing some information that I've gone live with my dashboard. Post where? I'm live. Right, let's have a look. I just need to sort some stuff out here. I'm sorry if you see my arms and things, but I need to, right? There we go. Right. Done that much. Okie dokes. Got that, got that. Back to live streaming. Hurrah! Hello. I can see two people have joined me. You're most welcome here. So I've got a video that's processing to be seen later. It's just a flip through of my art. And what I thought I'd do today is do some drawing and variations on a theme. This is one of the things I show in the video that's due to not go live, but to be published later today, because I went through lots of my art. So I Hi Judy. Thank you. I am back doing my best. I don't know whether it's going to be a regular thing or whether it's going to be as and when I can. I'm hoping for regularity, but that depends on life, and life can get in the way. But I'm here. So there you are. Thank you so much. Um, that's fab. Thank you. Big heart for you. Um, so as I was saying, I've got a video coming up later today. I think it's due to be available from 9 o'clock tonight. It's currently processing on YouTube after taking about 2 hours to upload. So I didn't know whether I'd managed to get here or not. But one of the things I showed was this page, which is something I've worked on today, yesterday, and today, which is starting with a shape and seeing what variations I can come up with. And I've used watercolor pencils and I've drawn in pencil, not pen. Though I may use pen as well today so you can see the differences between them. Um, I'm going to choose something from here and I quite like these things here. So I'm going to click my page back, but I'm going to unclip it from time to time so I can check back on that because I can't remember what's there. I'm going to use a Uni Kuratoga um, mechanical pencil. This is an O3 size, so it's very fine line. And I think I've got an F lead in it. F is sort of like slightly harder than your usual 2B or HB pencil or number two, I think it is in America, and an H, which is hard. So it's a little bit harder than that, which hopefully means that it won't smudge so much. Yeah, right. I have got lead somewhere, and I know you can get them that are not smudge proof, but smudge resistant. I'm going to have to look for those again. But I'm going to draw with pencil. I'm going to watercolor in pencil, some of them, others I'm going to watercolor in pencil, use watercolor pencils to add color. Some of them I'll draw in pen. In fact, I may start drawing in pen because if I get my basic shapes down, so excuse me, I'll have a page up and then I can see what shapes I'm going to use. I'm going to start with this one. And, yeah, actually, I think I might use just that. If I need to go back, I will. So I'm using something that's shaped like an upside down triangle that is just a little bit on the, oh, that's that one. Yeah, zoom in a bit, move this closer so you can see what I'm up to. There, seems I've got power to zoom in. So this is my basic shape that I'm going to use. It does remind me of a feather. So let's create a bit of a pattern, I guess, with these because why not? So here I'm going to put the end on as if it's a feather. And with this here, I'm just going to add some chevrons as if there's a pattern at the bottom of it. I'm not attempting to make these identical because really, do we need to? I don't think so. I'll put some there and perhaps one up there. That works for me. Looks good enough. I could have drawn these bigger. The thing is, I know I've got a fine liner. It's an zero point 0.1. It's a Unipin fine line pen. And so it gives a very fine line. And my instinct when I'm drawing with fine lines is to make things titchy. I mean, look at the size of these compared to these. Those are drawn with pencil. Not to worry, she says, not to worry. Oh, look, it's broader. So I'm going to pop a circle at the top and perhaps split this down the middle and have perhaps a chevron part way down. Perhaps here I'll have, instead of a circle, perhaps more of a leaf shape. And again, that way down, and perhaps chevron there. Why not? So instead, perhaps, of having a straight edge at the top, how about if we have a curved edge? How does that affect how my feathery kind of things look? I don't know, but I'm going to add something a little bit different here. And I'm going to have a couple of chevrons on that side to make it look like we've got, sometimes you have feathers that've got markings on one side and not the other. I mean, these are all imaginary, you know. I don't know whether birds have got any of these. Let's have a lovely big one. That looks almost like an ice cream cornet. An ice cream bird. I think I might just create that there. So that looks fun. These are going to be a pain to colour. I will have to draw bigger. But I think what I'll do the next row down is I'll repeat some of them, but I'll use a pencil, which will make me draw bigger, hopefully. Okay. Yes. Of course, I can do to this kind of shape with the curve top, any of these options as well. But instead of a curve, how about we do it so it's a kind of kite shape? So that's quite fun because I've now got a kind of diamond there, and I am just going to put some lines across. And I'm just going to pop a diamond there, and I'm just going to put those lines across, but not that central line because I can see the difference that way, which is always good fun. Okie dokes, let's have a look here. Now, these are sketches, then it's not a finished work, although you could argue that the page on this side will be. And they're sort of interesting in their own, but it really is in a sketchbook. Or if I wasn't doing it in my this sketchbook, I'd be doing it on a piece of paper to go into a sketchbook because they're just collections of objects that belong together. And the thing that's tying these together is that basic shape I started with here. Everything is a variation on that. Flat tops, well, that one's slightly curved, mind. Then curved, more curved, and just putting patterns in to see what happens. It may be that some of these I don't like. So be it. How about if I I'm going to put a oh gosh, this is dried up now on me because I've oh, it's just a paper. I'm going to do something like that. I'm not sure that's going to work, mind you. Let me just pop that there. It's a funny one, but it's an idea. My pen did it. Oops, my pen did it, not me. Ooh, top's got a little hole in it now. So I'm going to have fun with this and perhaps have a fancy kind of feather that's got something sticking out of it. Who says feathers can't be interesting? And perhaps I'll put a couple of spots in there. So that's quite fun. Okay, so the next line down, I'm going to use my mechanical pencil. Try and keep this on the screen, trying not to move it around. Might have to move my camera. Let's move my camera forward a little bit. There you are. Sorry if that made you a bit seasick. Okay, so here, instead of having straight sides, I've now got them bending inwards. And I'm still going to put a shape at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create something that looks like little leaves or little petals, as if we've got a plant stuck in there. And this one, I'll bend the top up. Oh no, that's beginning to look like a ginkgo leaf. I love a ginkgo leaf. So we're having different shapes like that. So that's quite fun. You can see these as fancy ends to tales of whimsical birds, or as their wings, even some of them. You can make these as wide as you like. I'll come back to that in a moment. So pop another one there, and then perhaps another one there, another one there, another feather. Not much bigger, are they? So instead of joining at a point at the bottom, I've made it rounded now this time. And some of these may be unsuccessful in terms of how they come out at the moment, but you never know, do you? Whether they're going to work or not. This reminds me of Egyptian ornamentation. So I'm just going to put some stripes in. We'll add that. It looks like something you'd find on ancient Egyptian artwork. Oh, I'm glad I'm helping you out. This kind of thing, Judy, I find a lot of fun to do. It's it sets off a creative spark. It means that I will consider other things to add in my more abstract art, or to start with or work on, or elements of things like whimsical birds and my creepy cute critters and things like that. But it's just a nice way to do that. And because I want to develop my ability to choose colors wisely, to work with media like watercolors, as well as I like my marker pens. Coloured pencils are always a bit of a pain, but I want to use them on these to see if I can intensify the colours and bring some more shading out, rather than going back over them with watercolour pencils, using watercolour pencils, because the pigments will move on this paper because it is just sketchbook paper. But it's really nice to get the creative juices flowing. Well, that's a bit lopsided, but hey ho. In the world of birds and other critters, we can have lopsided, can't we? So how about instead of oh, that reminds me of a morning glory flower, convolvulus. Um, the white cone-shaped flowers. It's not quite like that, but There's something about it that just reminds me of I think if I'd wobbled to the edge. Let's have a look. Let's do a wobbly. That does look a bit like a flower, doesn't it? But it could be anything. I do love circles. Okay, let's just try one more thing on this line in pencil. Let's try a kind of kite shape, but in here instead, and perhaps having the end, and perhaps having that point there connected. So that's quite interesting. So if I can bend these inwards, surely I can bend them out as well. Well, that works, doesn't it, as another shape? So just put some chevrons at the base and perhaps a border at the top. And I'm fed up of drawing them alternating, so I'm just going to put them all the same way up. So this one, let's bend it up a little bit. And instead of having straight-sided chevrons, let's contrast them to the outside edge and have them curving in a different direction. And I am going to put a line there, as well as the end of my feather. And then up here, I think I can put 2 hearts. In fact, on this one, I may have, because I like hearts coming off there. So that works. So if I go up and down, that looks like a shield, doesn't it? Isn't it amazing how, you come these shapes come. I wasn't thinking of creating a shield shape. In my head, I was thinking, okay, I've drawn that kind of U shape. What will happen if I put like an inverted V on it or that kind of, squarish top like a roof? I've ended up with something that looks a bit like a shield. So I'll do that. Keeping it simple. Um, if I want to add more pattern, I can later. I'm deciding about doing that on the other ones, these ones on the other page, but I haven't worked that out yet. I'm not sure whether I need to redo them in pen to do that, but we'll see. Let's make it more like a shield. That looks more like it reminds me of the prefect's badge I had when I was in school. Prefect and then senior prefect. Never made head girl or head boy for that matter. But I wasn't worried. I wasn't one to be that. In fact, I hated being a prefect. It involved doing break time and lunchtime duties. And I often seem to end up having to be stood near the girls' toilets. And I'm not the most assertive person in the world. And when there's shenanigans going on there or bullying and things, you're supposed to do something about it. It usually ended up me being the one who got bullied. You know, school, some things never change, I guess. Was a narrower one. There we go. I like that. I like the way they echo each other or repeat. That's nice. Put a little teardrop there and a little teardrop there as well, just to add some extra interest. So we have that going on. Okay, Have I got any other variations on this I can think of? The only other variations is by making them really wide, really square bottom and rather tall, or making them wide or narrow and very long. So the different heights are quite fun to play with. Um, and of course, when you draw them bigger, you've got more space to put things in and you fill up a page quicker, but that's not my intent here. Just put the quill end of these in. Ah, no. It's a variation, isn't it? It's the one with the rounded bottom, but instead of having the edges going out in a triangle, we've got it more like a test tube shape. Yeah, I was a science teacher. I'm making no apologies for that analogy. So, how about a more bulbous shape at the bottom? So the lines go in a little bit and then go outwards. Who says we can't have feathers shaped like that? So I'm drawing the top, and then we're using a series of more complex shapes. So I've got a rounded V shape for the top, lines that are going out like my triangles up here, and then instead of them just joining in a simple circle, I've joined them together in a triangle. So let's have a look at adding some interest to these. That one, I'm putting another triangle inside, and I may add more borders to that one. I'm sorry if I was off the screen when I did these. I keep forgetting to check. But you can see they're just very simple shapes. This one, I am going to add a band here to begin with, and then I'm going to start by splitting this into 3, and then perhaps into 5. So that gives a different kind of feel to it. If I wanted to, I could draw a line across here for the top and leave a border or an edge, but I think I'm going to leave it like that. This one, I'm going to put 3 long, like half ovals. Again, I'm going to pop a chevron there. For this one, I'm going to have those joined in like that. So I've actually got 4 sections, but I'll work that one out when I get there. This one, half a diamond, diamond, and then the end there. It's not perfect, but it gives me a good enough idea that if I wanted to make use of this, I could. And I think what I'm going to do is to use Zentangle's best friend, use an aura around them. And I could do that anywhere really. Okay, so that looks fun. Okie dokes, let's have a look. This one I think will have quite a long slot there. I'm not going to do any more to that. I'm going to leave it like that because I think that if we were to add more detail, spaces are getting little, just like the other ones, silly little. This one, I would like to do something down here, and I'm not sure what. I was tempted to put another heart in, but I think I'll just put a smaller version of the shape in there. This one, just chevrons. And then I've got this shape at the top, and I'm just going to put a little semicircle in there. This one could be interesting because why not? It now looks almost like some kinds of flower or lily, and I may play on that idea with that there. But then let's take it back to the idea of a feather with those patterns there. And with this one, that just fits so oh, it looks like a finger now. Genius, Angela. 0 out of 10. So that actually doesn't look too shabby now. Still looks like a finger. But perhaps if I do something like that, it looks less like a finger. And if I do that, maybe, possibly. Hmm, we shall see. Have I got space in here for anything else? Not really. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop my bits and pieces here out of the way. So don't need them for now. Less on my desk is better. I'm going to use a Kuretake Sig water brush. This is one of the fine ones. I managed to pick some up recently because I'm forever wearing them out or forgetting where I put them. In fact, I've got two in my box, in my pot. And in here, I've got a large number. You can see them. And they're Albrecht Dürer watercolor pencils from Faber-Castell. They are expensive ones, not as expensive as ones like the museum ones from Caran d'Ache and so on. But I've bought them because when I've tried other watercolor pencils like the Derwent ones, they tend to leave a kind of almost like waxy or filmy finish to them. These ones don't. They are like watercolor in a pencil. Obviously, it's not quite the same, but they seem to have a lot of transparency and translucency. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out some colors, and I'm going to pick out four because four seem to work for my last thing there. I'm going to pick out four different ones, and hopefully I've got enough space here to write in what they are afterwards. But I'm going to use carmine, not that you can see it because the light's there. I want a yellowish color, I think, or actually I might go with that, the cadmium orange. Um, sort of like a red violet. No. Ooh, now that'd be cool. Oh yeah, because those two colors together would be great. And what I really want to go with that is a blue, a really, really stunning blue. I've got middle phthalo blue, which is this color. Don't think that's going to work quite as well. What's that color? That's Prussian blue. That may work really nicely. I'm still looking. Bluish turquoise, because I've got, what's that one? That's cobalt turquoise. I've got bluish turquoise. They're a bit too similar. I'm looking for something that's a bit different. That's pine green. No, I don't want pine green. And I do not want deep cobalt green. What's this blue one? Oh, Indothrene blue. That'll be nicer. So I've got four colours and I reserve the right to add another one if these don't work together. Sorry, just having a drink. Okay, I'm going to start with the Indothrene blue. Now, I'm not going to colour this on the paper because what I've found I like over here is I like these very soft pastel colours. There is something I don't know about them, just something really soft and nice and pleasant. And I've grown to like them. Don't get me wrong, I like strong colours as well, saturated colours. But I think watercolour has this power in it of being able to use things in a very kind of soft and gentle way. So what I've done is I've just touched my brush to the tip of this, and don't worry, it won't harm it at all. Won't harm your watercolor pencils at all. Of course, if you haven't got watercolor pencils, use whatever medium you wish to add color to. The colour is what makes these interesting. So this is the cobalt turquoise, and they actually work quite nicely together. And I think I'd just like a little hint more colour in this. A little bit more of the indanthrene blue at the bottom. So this is one of the nice things, is that you can just while I prefer to do this while the paint's damp rather than when it's dry, because when it's dry, because this is not watercolour paper, it'll move the pigments around. But there is that. Now, I don't think the colours are showing correctly on my screen, but you get the idea. I've got blue at the bottom and a cobalt turquoise at the top. So for the next one, I'm going to use this carmine here. Lovely colour. It's sort of more of a pinky. It's a warm, it's pinkier red than just a red would be. I quite like that because it'll work nicely with the indanthrene blue. But I'm going to take some of the yellow this time and just blend, not yellow, the orange, and just blend it at the top here to, to blend the colours together. So there's another reason I like watercolour. It's so easy to blend. And I may have texture in my colours, but I'm not bothered about that texture. I know that all will be fine and well with this. And I'm going to add some of that lovely red colour here. And I will put the orange in between. So I'm just using two colours on this. I was complaining about the tiny size of these, but it's actually fine because I'm using a fine brush. And these are great because there's less chance of me knocking a pot of water over while I'm working. Trust me, I've done it too many times and it's not good. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. So let me have a look at this because I think this colour, I am filling sections in very simply. I might blend colours here and there because I can. I actually didn't in this one. I just used the colours pure as they are, but I feel like this evening I would like to blend colours. So I'm going to, because, you know, why not? If I start coughing, it's because my asthma may be set off because somebody is burning wood. Now, whether it's wood or whether some lovely children on holidays have set fire to the mountains, they should be able to because it's been piddling down with rain. Yesterday, it was really heavy at times, so they shouldn't be able to set fire to things. They shouldn't be. In fact, it's been quite damp for a while here in Wales. Actually, in Welsh Wales, it's always pretty damp. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to grab that bluish turquoise I said I wasn't going to use, but I am. Actually going to pop some of that on here. Now that's a better colour than the green, cobalt green. So I'm just going to add some here. It's better. And yeah, I'm putting it over the top of that darker blue. It'll be fine. Yeah, it's a better colour. There we go. So I'm just adding some of this here and here. And once it's dry, I'll come back with that red again because I don't want it to bleed one into the other. So that indanthrene blue. I wouldn't mind a more vibrant blue in its way. What colour is that? Cobalt, oh gosh, cobalt blue greenish. I've got heliotrope. Good question. It's Prussian blue. Let me try the Prussian blue. I'm just going to quickly look. I'm sure I've got heliotrope. Oh no, I've got Delft blue, which is Delft blue is actually purple. Don't ask. I got no idea. Dark indigo is going there just in case, because I do have a bit of a thing for dark indigo. I've got blue greenish. Is that helio blue reddish? Take this one and see what this is like, because this may satisfy my need for a blue blue. But as it's reddish, it's going to be a warm blue. Because yes, you can have warm blues. The reddish ones tend to be closer to purple. and the cooler ones, well, they tend to be closer to greens. Generally, I think. So I'm just opposing them on each side there. I'm going to let that dry again as well. This one, I am going to put some of this red, pinky red there, and perhaps just a little bit more of that red up here. We'll mix with the orange and just make it a different kind of colour. That'll be all right. I do think, see, I'm changing my mind now. It's going back because I'm going to look for a real orange red or scarlet. Deep scarlet red will do it. Come back to that. Yeah, I know. I said I was going to stick to the same colours. Obviously, I'm not. It's my prerogative. It's my sketchbook. Oh, that's a better red. Yeah, that's the one I want. So it'll mix with these quite nicely. We get some more in here. I'm literally just touching this and picking up the tiniest amount of pigment. If I was to use the pencil to put colour into these little spaces, I'd find it too overwhelming, too saturated, too much for me. Whereas by doing it in this kind of way, I can control how dark the colour is. Now, if it gets too dark, like here, what I can do is take some kitchen towel and just go badunk. It'll soak some of it up and leave it a paler shade, which works. Okay, come back to these because I think I might use the red next to this blue. And yeah, I went outside the lines of the colour, but I'm not too worried. It's sketchbook, and also the colours will mix and they will actually go, even when they create a slightly different red, it will work nicely because they share some of the same pigments. In fact, I'm finding out, or I'm beginning to work out in my head that using a limited palette of colours instead of the whole toy box of you know, 40 colours or whatever would be a good way for me to go forward because you can mix those colours to make quite a large range of other colours by mixing them in different proportions, and everything will work out nicely, probably. Not sure about how I've added colour to this one here. The colours really do look a lot, but it might be my computer screen, but they don't look as saturated as they are to my eyes. So, they're not as pale and insipid and flat and ugh as they are on the screen that I can see. Endothrine blue? I think that was that the one? No, it was that one, wasn't it? Helio blue reddish was the one I liked. Right, so let's start popping things back. The ones I'm going to use, the ones I'm not. There we go. All right. So as I've got this one in my hand, let's do some addition of colour here on this side. Went outside the line here. Again, I'm not too worried. If I really am upset by it, once it's dried, I can just use the damp brush just to remove it. And I am going to use indigo here because I would like this. Oh, look at that. That's a really nice dark blue. Looks like it's got a lot of black in it, but it is a blue. It's a proper, deep dark indigo blue. It actually looks nice there amongst this indanthrene blue. But on the other side, I'm going to continue using some blues. I'm going to use cobalt turquoise and the blue turquoise in stripes. Again, this may be a bad idea. in the same way this one, but we'll see what happens. They're all shades of blues one way or another. I've got a greeny blue and then I've got a bluey green. It's bluish turquoise and a green turquoise. Okay, can I say? Ooh, bit more of that to make it a bit more intense. May come back and just add a little drop of that Induthrine blue, I think it was, into that one just to add that little bit more blue in, just the tiniest amount, and it will help to separate it from the cobalt blue as well. We said that the tips of these colours, they're not damaged at all by using a brush on them. I just make sure I leave them to dry until I pop them back in their pot. I prefer pots to tins. Tins are just frustrate me with all the layers and and they take up so much space. Um, but that may just be me, or it may not be just me. So I decant them all into pots of one kind or another, and I then send the tins for recycling, so I'm not tempted to use them again. Not that I ever would. I used to have stacks of them around the house. I mean, why am I keeping these? Why? What am I doing? And I would like a yellow, so I've got dark cadmium yellow here, which is quite a nice golden yellow. It's the one I used on the previous page, actually. I have a bit of a thing for this. The nice thing as well about these is that should I run out of these pencils, I can always buy a replacement. I don't have to buy the whole set, which is a big advantage. It's a big outlay initially, but then you you just go with it. Just add. I think I've got all the colours in the range. If I haven't, I'll check. But I've got more than enough to last me. And I'll work out which ones are the ones I really like and use most of, because they're the ones that'll get worn down a lot. So this is that cobalt turquoise again. I just want a little bit more colour at the end here, which is nice. And then I'm going to go to the Induthrine blue, though it's not the blue I was hoping it would be. It's fine. Or helio blue was the one I wanted. Is this helio blue? This one is the helio blue red. Yeah, that's fine. It's the one I wanted. So that it looks like an ice cream cone of a weird kind. On the outside, I'm going to use a red, because I just feel it needs that pop of colour. After all, these aren't real feathers or real anything. If anything, they're sort of like, come on, Angela, get your brain working. I've talked a lot today. Takes it out of me. I'm usually so much in my head. The connection between that part of my brain that makes me speak doesn't get a lot of practice. And it can be very tiring. What was I wittering about? Oh, yeah. So as much as these are an exploration of shapes and patterns and creating, in my case, it was meant to be feathers. It's also an opportunity to practice using colours for me. To work, I've said I was going to work with a limited palette. Obviously not, but to learn about colour mixing, about using colours in a different kind of way, about uh, coming to, getting familiar with these techniques and and other things that work for me. I got this idea of collecting things together, similar things together in a sketchbook, though I've done it myself in the past, where I've done sort of like Zen style explorations and have worked on a particular pattern to see what happens if I do this or if I do something else. And But for things that are sort of like you can actually put a name to it, not just a pattern name, but a name to something. Like these could be feathers, they could be petals, they could be anything you want them to be. It could be parts of headdresses or crowns or, you know, coats of many feathers. Said, be anything at all. It's nice to put them together as that kind of collection. Here, they're all based on the same kind of shape. Yes, there are variations on that shape. It's like the page before. The shapes are all the same, but they're longer, wider. The art goes down further. Sometimes it's a bit shorter. But it's just ideas of how can I make use of that space? What can I do with it? And it's the same with this really, is I am doing what I can to make use of the space within, within each of these delineating outside the main shape itself. Do that. I'm going to use some of the cobalt turquoise. Oh, that was a lot. It's okay. We'll blend it. And we have a completely different colour now. It's more bluey green than it was, which is quite nice actually. I like that. And I'm going to add a bit of this here. Just a little bit more. That's nice. And then a bit of the blue right at the bottom. So I've got some of that blue on its own as well, which is nice. Leave those to dry and then I'll come back and fill those in. That yellow looks just a little bit too pale, so I'm going to take some of this orange just to darken it a little bit. That looks a bit better. It stands out a bit more, so perhaps I don't need that yellow after all. There we go. What can I say? I have my moments of insanity, or what seems logical at the time, but actually turns out not to be. So just in case you don't get to see the video I recorded going through my artwork, because I know it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I thought you need to see I have been doing art over the past month or two. Well, how long? I've had a heck of a couple of years, one way or another. Um, I've had burnouts after burnouts. I've had shutdowns after shutdown. I get exhausted after peopling. Even though I like to be with people, it has to be fairly limited. I've had I've been scammed and had to deal with that, and that threw me for a loop. I was really in a bad place for a while because it just exhausted me, and the worry about it all and checking this, that, and the other and trying to find out how they did it. Honestly, yeah. I mean, it was my stupidity in the first place, but then, yeah. And, the problems with various kinds of anemia, um, B12 and iron, which I've got sorted, but they're keeping an eye on me because it may not be forever. I'm trying to remember to take vitamin tablets every day. The IBS has settled down. Hooray. I still have bouts of it if I eat unwisely, or I forget that I can't eat something that I love to eat. So sometimes it's worth it. A couple of days of loperamide, it's fine. Though I did something last week and I was really grim all week. I ate something that I shouldn't have really at all. And it really, really upset me hugely. And it took me a number of days to get over. But, this is what happens and, life goes on. I'd like to say I live and learn. I'm not holding my breath on that one. But it's had a huge effect on my energy levels, all of this. It's all very draining. And I don't think menopause is helping or perimenopause. Don't get me wrong, the HRT has really helped, but I'm still get so fatigued so quickly, and there's nothing wrong with me as to why I should. It's all been checked out. Um, I sometimes wonder if it's the dreaded long COVID, because I did have COVID back in late December 2019. it was definitely COVID, and that had me very unwell every week or so, every couple of weeks, every month. And, I can still see the ebbs and flows of this even now. Today is a good day, you know. I didn't sleep as long as I usually would. I was up and ready to get at 'em, as it were. And, it's it's just learning how to figure this out. I've had a lot of learning to do about myself and understanding myself and things I wish I'd known when I was a lot younger, but I couldn't have known it when I was a lot younger because not a lot was known about things then, which is fine. But, it's an interesting journey, and it's a lifelong journey for all of us. I find it interesting, and it also can be a bit confusing as well at times, but I think that's normal. And I've always got my art, or at the moment, my knitting, if I need to, because I knit when I'm overarted. Yes, I can get overarted. I think we all can, to be honest. And, or when I'm just settling down or trying to settle down to get ready for bed, I do like to do some knitting. I find it soothing. I did, crochet. Crocheting's the same. I find that soothing. I crocheted a blanket for my sister, and she says it's perfect because it's got the right amount of holes in it and right amount of, things that keeps her comfortable at night because she still gets hot flushes at night and, in the day as well, but at night particularly. So she's able to put the blankie over her and finds, the right amount of ventilation and warmth to keep her to settle down, which I think is hilarious but good fun. But I also made two smaller blankets, one for her own cat Pixie, who's a little darling, and one for a kind of stray cat who's been adopted by somebody not far away, but he still comes and visits her. Well, he was until the last time. And we think they've got him on lockdown because they don't seem to be too happy that Igor turns up at her house. And she offered them Igor the blanket I made for him, but they got really funny about it. I think they think we're trying to claim Igor as ours, and we're not. We're just saying, "We know him, we like him, he's lovely." You know, cats shared property, cats choose their humans, it's a well-known thing. And Igor definitely has I say shared, Igor has definitely decided on his humans, and I think that he likes, more than one set of human. But, I had a photograph the other day of Pixie on her blankie, and it's adorable. Apparently, she loves it. She absolutely loves it. So I'm thinking, "Yay, that's fab." So really good. It's, a chevron pattern, and I used 2 different colours of variegated yarn. One was quite fiery, and the other one quite autumnal. So the one of them was rich, maroon and burgundy and orange and some brown and some very dark green, and the other one was also that had greens and oranges and browns and other colours in it, but they sort of like complemented each other beautifully. So you've got these lovely stripes that go together so well. I was impressed because I just didn't have enough of one yarn or the other, but combining the two made something that was really interesting. And of course, part of it matches the blanket I made for my sister because I used the leftover yarn for that. And all was fine and well in the world in the land of Pixie. And we'll find out about Igor when he returns because I think she's still got his blankie. Because he will, they'll let him out and he'll come for a visit. He knows his way there. And he also knows he'll have a lift back home if he stays long enough. Seriously, I really think he wants to be with my sister, but that's a whole different story. She didn't have that option, sadly, for her and for Igor. Pixie's quite happy though. Pixie and Igor, they didn't fight, but Pixie would just look at him and walk away, with perhaps a hiss, warning him, stay clear. There are, oh gosh, I forgot to let that dry. So I'm having some leakage of this turquoisey colour into the red, which could be interesting. You never know what colour's going to be created. So I never worry about it. Could be a happy accident. Oh, it's a bit more in there. It's fine. I'm actually getting a purplish colour there, purpley grey. This one's interesting. I like this. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change out some colours here and go for some that are a little bit different. Pink Madder Lake. Don't know what's madder about the lake or why it's pink, but it is. That's a nice gentle pink. So you're getting cattails here. Oh yeah, I'm friends with three neighbourhood cats really. There's a little black one called Salem who likes me, and if I go out, he'll come up to me. I go, "Hello, Salem," and he'll come up for a fuss. Luna loves a fuss. She's a little black and white cat. She's absolutely darling. And then there's next door's cat, Sam, who likes me, who likes to weave himself in around my legs. And he likes to sit next to me, but he does not like a fuss. He'll let me pat, the base of his tail on his back by his tail, but not too much because he goes into murder mode. And I mean, he really goes into murder mode. He draws blood instantly from me, the little so and so. So I just find somewhere where he can come and sit next to me and he can lean up against me and rub his head on me, and he's happy, purrs like a nutter. I actually need a darker colour than that. That pink is too insipid. What colour is that? It's light red. I don't want light red violet. What colour is that? Ooh, I don't want salmon. This is the problem because my pencils are now out of the light here. Oh, what colour's that? Well, this one says it's crimson, but it's a completely different colour crimson to the other one. Ah, now that is a nice colour. I like that. On the other side of the page, I used light magenta, which is a different colour again. So over here, this is light magenta, this is crimson. So you can see this one's more on the purpley side and this is more on the pink or reddy side. So I'll put that one out. And is there any colour? I would like a green. I haven't used green yet. What colour green? I'm really fussed on the May green that's in here. Might be suitable. I want a nice green. I'm fussy about greens. Are any of you the same? Perhaps I will go with the May green. It's nice. I have this thing, and I can remember history, story time. When I was quite young, we'd have, felt pens with brand newest things out. And I had, colouring books, and I used to use them in school, in secondary school. And I can remember we used to have to draw maps in geography because they, didn't have photocopiers. They did have banders, but it was part of the lesson to draw out the outline of a country and get to know it and things like that. And I can remember doing things like this and using like magenta and lime green together. Not this sort of pale magenta, but a magenta that was a lot more vibrant, and purple and bright yellow. And I just love those kinds of complementary colours that go together. I mean, this green isn't as bright as I'd like it to be, but my brush is giving out a lot of water. That's fine. We'll work it. Going to put, that's better level of green. Just a little bit more. So I have a bit of a thing for these two colours together. On the screen, this looks a lot yuckier than it is, and in truth, it is drying a bit yucky. So I shall pop that back in, and I shall hunt down a green that is suitable for me to like. Yeah, let's try grass green with that. So that may that will just bring it may bring the May green up, brighten it up a bit. It does. That's okay then. I'm happy with that. Happier with that. So I've always had this thing about colours. I also remember having a Clangers colouring book. I think I would have had it for my birthday one year with some felt pens, and I used to hide it away in my wardrobe. My brothers got in there and scribbled on the walls with the felt pens and all over my colouring book. And when I was all upset about this and said to my mother about this, her answer was, Oh, well, you shouldn't have left it lying around for them to find. My answer was, but I'd hidden it in my cupboard, in my wardrobe, where they shouldn't have been able to find it. Well, you couldn't have hidden it, yeah. And I got into trouble for not hiding my colouring book away, and they thought that was hilarious. And I was really upset because I really liked the Clangers. I did, and I still do. I haven't seen the newest series, newest rendition of them. For those who aren't British or aren't of my age, the Clangers were these knitted creatures, all pink, who lived on the small moon, and they had they like spoken whistles with one another. You could almost tell what they were speaking from the cadence of the noise and things. And there was an iron chicken that lived on the small moon, and you had the froglets, music trees, the soup dragon. I just loved it. It's just a bit of wonderful fantasy that I could lose myself in. And even as an adult, if the Clangers came on, I'll happily watch them. Always, I'm not actually sure if I've got a DVD of them. I may have, because I know I've got Ivor the Engine. Ivor the Engine was a steam train who his whistles he could sing with the choir, and the choir would come to practice trackside with him, and he was always on these missions and things. Yeah, I know. Ivor the Engine. He actually got the chip shop work, the choir had practice, or was it the choir? It would have been the choir, and they always went to the chip shop for chips after choir practice, but there was no chips because the gas had broken down, or they didn't have a gas supply. So Ivor came along, and a dragon called Idris used to live in his boiler, and Idris came down and blew fire on the chip, the fryers for the chips, so they could have their chips and their fish and chips and things. And they were all sworn to secrecy about Idris the dragon, because if anybody found out there was a dragon there, poor Idris would be beleaguered, and would be in a heck of a state. Yeah, I remember all of these. Mind you, that might have something to do with the railway I used to be involved with. Used to have an Ivor the Engine weekend with a little tank engine, or little engine, just it was just like Ivor. And the weekend would be themed, and I'd be Mrs. Porty for the weekend, who was the railway owner in the books as well. And my job for that weekend was not working in the buffet, which was my usual thing. And after the service, I'd get in, sort of like work clothes, and be painting and doing whatever, to help restore engines, locomotives and carriages and so on. And I'd be telling the Ivor stories to passengers, and people had to come and find me as well to ask me about certain things for the quiz, as they did other characters. We had all the characters going. And the railway was, the signs on the stations and the railway would change for the weekend. It was great fun. I really enjoyed it. And I'd have to dress up like Mrs. Porty, and I'd boss everybody around. It's the only time I ever got away with it. And it was great. But I got to read all the stories, and some of the books I was loaned from Oliver Postgate himself, or his son, family, because they were the original editions of the books, and they hadn't been reprinted. And so the railway managed to have a loan of these books for the weekends, and I was able to read out of his very own copies when some of the first editions. And I had to look after them, obviously, and make sure nothing happened to them. I did have Ivor the Engine books here, but I think they got cleared out in a big clear out a few years ago. My niece was ruthless with me, and I wasn't very happy when I found out they'd gone. She came to help. I need help for things like that. I get overwhelmed with what to do, and having somebody else there who says, "Right, let's do this." Okay, then. And once you start me, off I go. But where to start and how to do it, which sounds ridiculous, but it is an overwhelming thing for me. Too much choice. I can't cope with. Narrow it down. Getting me to choose eating out is very easy because I'm vegetarian. So there's never that many options unless you go to a vegetarian or vegan restaurant, and then I get overwhelmed. But then I tend to go for the things I know I love and like, and favorite things, because I basically can. Um, so yeah, was I with the engine. So yeah, so I had a lovely time. Oh, hello, Trevor. Thank you, Trevor. I'm glad you like the colours. Oh, too many peoply things. Too many people. It's I like people, but I like it in limited quantities. So it's fine. So where was I? I was talking about Over the Engine. Oh yeah. So I was reading from a book, stories, and this family kept coming back. It was a dad and a couple of quick kids. And he said, "Oh, could you read the next story?" I said, "Yes, of course." So the kids would sit down, they'd listen, the dad would sit down and listen. And then they came back for another one. He said, and at the end of the story, he said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we have to go now. And I'm glad we had the last story in the book." I said, "Oh, oh, the last book," because each book was a story in itself. And I said, "Oh, you're most welcome." He said, do you visit people to do bedtime storytelling?" And I said, "It can be arranged, I guess." And I said, "What time do your kids go to bed?" And he said, "Not for the kids, for me." He said, "I could listen to you and gently fall asleep so happily." I just thought, how lovely is that? Hi, Trevor. I'm fine today. I am. I recorded a video earlier today, which should be available to watch from 9 p.m., as long as YouTube has processed it. Took his own sweet time uploading it, mind you. So this is the second amount of talking I've done today. Actually, this another hour of talking. But I'm fine. I may be a bit tired tomorrow. But yeah, it is Bank Holiday Monday. Yes, I forgot that. I'm glad you mentioned it. But you can see that I filled a page with. Let me just zoom out, and you can see, and anybody who's just joining us can see, is that on this page, um, I drew very similar shapes and have filled them in different ways and added colour to bring out the patterns and so on. And I've drawn in pencil instead of pen. So here I've drawn the first line with pen and the rest of them in pencil because I like the delicacy of pencil. That the pen is lovely, but there's something about delicacy of the pencil lines that I think goes with very delicate colours. The basic shape here was this upside down triangle. It looks a bit like a feather. And we've got all weird and wonderful shapes here going on. But it's just variations on changing things. So this one's plain. This one I put some chevrons in, some horizontal stripes. This one I put, you can see what I've done. And flat tops to ones that have got curves, bigger curves, pointy bits, gentle curves with a little wobble in it with something sticking out. Then instead of straight sides, these are curved. And with a curved top, you get ginkgo leaves, something that looks very ancient Egyptian. Oh, it reminds me of the morning glory flower, the convolvulus. I think it's morning glory we call it. And we've got, an upside down flower. So it looks a bit like a weird bell, but I'm still calling it a feather and so on. And then double scoops upwards. You can see, you get the idea. And they've got bigger towards the bottom of the page, which is what I wanted it to do. So let's just zoom back in so you can see what I'm doing here. It's always good. And I'm using do a tape for my stories. Oh, I'm not sure about that. Could do a YouTube. I'm being nagged to do um, Zoom services with meditations on from people I know because I can put a glass eye to sleep. Trained as a hypnotherapist. Never passed. Never took the qualifications for it. I got a bit jaded with the way they were pushing business on us. But yeah, sunset colours on the left. Oh yeah, yeah. There's very soft blues, blue, pink, yellow, and slightly darker blue, soft blues. They just, it's just Angela, isn't it? It's me. Oh, how lovely! You got piggy hogs. Oh, I do like it. I do like hedgehogs. They're so cute. Oh, what they called? They're called hoglets, baby hedgehogs are called hoglets, and they're so cute when they're little. They're all pink and they're everything's pink. Even their spines are pink and soft, and oh, they're so cute. Don't know if you can hear that, but it's the evening parade of all the jackdaws swooping around here. And if I'm lucky, oh, there's tons of them. Yeah, they've gone one way and they're going back the other. And if I'm really lucky, they might come and swoop down in front of my window. They sometimes do that, some of them, and say hello. Oh, just going over my house now. It's away again. I love to watch them. A collection of jackdaws is called a clattering, and you can tell why, because they really do make a noise like they're clattering. So it's their last sort of like fling in the air before they settle in their roosts for tonight. They'll squabble over which they have, of course. Oh, yes, they are safe. It's a shame there's a main road there. I hope they survive. Excuse me, I'm leaning on my table and wobbling a bit. Oh, you're welcome for the reminder, Judy. The Albrecht Dürers are lovely. I'm not sure if you say it. It's a Welsh thing, Albrecht. Right, yeah, so there we are. I can still hear them clattering, but they seem to have swept away from me now. I do love them. Through lockdown, I'd be up here working, and because the world was so quiet, there was a lot more wildlife and cat life and things around here. And neighbours, they still do, they put bread and things out on the roof for the jackdaws to eat and other birds. Sometimes you see the little ones there as well. And magpies, of course. And if we're really unlucky, there might be some gulls here that eat them. But we had, but they were so funny to watch. And I still love to watch them now because they seem to be quite happy to come and squabble and play around not far from, on the other side of the road where I can see them. Sometimes they get really close to my window. There's next door's television aerial I can see the edge of, and sometimes they'll sit there and squabble and clatter and chatter. And it's really lovely. I love them very much. Not many people would admit they love jackdaws, but I really, really do. I love all the corvids, jackdaws, magpies, rooks, crows, ravens, and jays. They're so interesting, so clever as well. But then I tend to love all birds. Not very keen on vultures, where their heads go. But at the same time, they serve a purpose. They're carrion eaters and they help to clear the world of stuff that would otherwise, stink. It's all the circle of life, isn't it? So I can live with that. Hang on, I can see there's lots going there. Oh, I bet they load up on food. I hope you're feeding them like cat food or dog cat food, isn't it? For cat food or dog food, isn't it? Oh, they choose to come to you as guests, and that's lovely. Oh yes, murmurations of starlings. They're amazing to see. They're absolutely beautiful. Yes, Trevor. Nature is beautiful and wonderful, and it's something that brings me great pleasure and joy and wonder and awe and gratitude for every day. Even if I don't go out very often, I see it and hear it from my house, and they're still weeping and whirling around you and clattering away. So they still haven't settled for the night. Honestly, they will because it is just about dusk, and perhaps they know I'm talking about them. But nature really is wonderful. It's a great source of inspiration as well. I ordered some little stud earrings today. My niece sent me a link, and I've ordered a pair of pterodactyls because I have a bit of a thing about pterodactyls. I've got a pterodactyl skeleton hanging above my bed. Nobody can see it because of the way I've got some voile or cheesecloth or netting or something hanging around poles at the end of my bed, hanging from the ceiling. Uh, but it would freak people out, which pleases me no end because I'm a bit strange like that. And so I've got pterodactyls. I ordered a pair of bird skulls because they're just generic bird skulls. So yay, you know, I love a good skull and some what else was it? It was what do you call them? Dinosaur skulls on odd set. I think one's a T-Rex, the other one looks like um Stegosaurus or something. Oh, I bet it does cost a fortune, but thank goodness somebody's feeding them. And I hope you create somewhere where they perhaps could bed down for the winter with you safely. Um, but it's so good that somebody's oh, I'm not young. Turned 61 not long ago. So, I'm rapidly heading towards retirement age. What can I say? Though I still think in my head I'm about 18 years old. My body disagrees. My body really disagrees. It's the creaks and groans and the when you get up in the morning and trying to get feet to work. Just going, "Ugh, when did my body get so old? Why isn't my brain so old?" But hey ho. I haven't got any hedgehogs here because, well, I live in a very small side street off the end of a very busy road, or busy-ish road. But there's nature is a bit too far away, even though I can see it. And also to get into my garden, inverted commas, they'd have to climb lots of walls because there's no all our gardens. My back gardens to my house, the back gardens to the houses above, butt up to each other with walls in between. So sadly, we'd oh, that makes a pretty colour. Oh, I'm glad I did that. I was beginning to think, oh, should I have done that? But no, it makes a lovely pinky, orangey, reddy colour. Oh, now I've got to try and remember this, and I won't. But that does make a nice colour for sunrise, sunset, I think, more than sunrise. Lovely colour you can sometimes get in the sky. Ah, yeah. Oh, I'm glad you fatten them up so they can survive their winter sleep. You know, they'll all be getting very busy fattening themselves up soon, won't they, for autumn and winter? Not just hedgy hogs. I think they're fine with cats because they know how to curl up and stick their spines out, and cats don't like being prickled by them. It should be fine. I'm going to finish this one off, or perhaps this line off, and then I'm going to go about adding some details to this or re-outlining them so you can see how things can be changed up or, added to. Still doing my still doing my stuff here. I think I'd rather like a lovely blue circle there. Just going to put some of this blue down here. And what I'm going to do as well to that, I'm going to add some of this lovely green because I will get a lovely greeny colour. I'm getting brave mixing colours, blimey. Well, of course you can. I think we're as young as we feel or as young as we think we are. My sister's 71, Trevor, and, she's like me. We just don't believe we're as old as as our birth certificates say. Our bodies tell us otherwise at times, get the, joints that complain. Go out for a walk and both of us are going, "God, my hips, oh, my knees. Where can we get the next cup of tea?" Or whatever. Terrible. She's visiting early on in September, so I will be missing from here for a week, as long as I can keep up going until then, because she's visiting and we're having a holiday together, as in visiting places in Wales she's not been to. I may have been, but there'll be some I haven't been to. I'm just having a lovely, wonderful time. Sisters together, causing problems and trouble, no doubt, because we excel at that in a nice way. And it's really good to be with her because she's much more outgoing than I am. And she'll strike up conversations with people, and I don't do that easily. If somebody speaks to me, I'll always speak back, but I'm not very good at initiating them. Yes, I know I do YouTube, but really, it's not quite the same, is it? Um, that's an interesting green. I think I've added a different blue here, and it seems to work nicely with that green. Have some of this darker or some of this color blending back into them, so we've got a gradation of color here. Is that being quite nice? That's nice. I like that color. I bet there's a pencil in here that's exactly that color, but I'm not going to go hunting for it. That's for sure. I so desperately want a red around these, but I think I'm going to make do with my pinky purple here. So go quiet because I'm concentrating. I know I'm concentrating. This sketchbook is by Artway. I'm sure it's Artway. And it's rather nice because it's got these hardboard things on it. You can get them in landscape formats if you're lucky. Um, would like to get landscape because they just, I get, yeah, that way paper to work on. I can do it, in this if I wanted to. But the paper's really quite nice. I mean, it's not going to take a huge amount of watercolor. Oh, which blue one? This one I've just used. I'll tell you what colors I've got out here. I've got um, bluish turquoise. This one is grass green. I also have cobalt turquoise, helio blue reddish, crimson, and this one is cadmium orange. So an unusual collection of colours for me. So I know I'm talking to friends. 82. Oh, I could what I did on my other page is I actually put the colours I used at the top of the page, but I've used different colours on this line to this line. But it's fine, you know. Um, that I will remember that one because I know it was the orange and the that lovely colour because that is just so lovely. It's a nice combination. I like that one. They're a weird set of colours. Even this looks weird at the moment. So I may use pen to go over the pencil lines for some of these and see if that helps and add some patterning with it. Um, time, hour and 23 minutes. Okay. I'm just going to finish these two bits off here. What colour do I want there? I think I might just put oh, some of this colour along here. Come on, Angela. Pick up some more colour. Oh, it's going to run into the green because I'm losing the control. I'm rushing now. Don't have to rush. There we go, that's nice. That'll do. And then on this one, I'm going to get the cobalt blue again. Or the turquoise, sorry. It's the cobalt turquoise, I think it is. Add that there. And I'm going to add some of the orange at the top. And these are just crazy colours. I don't know what made me pick them, but something did. They're not colours I would usually pick to work together. But, you know, I guess I can, either learn to, it's a sketchbook, it doesn't matter. That's the point, isn't it? Some there. There we go. And the bluish turquoise, I think, would be nice around this. Put some there. It's the bluish turquoise is the lovely colour here. I think that's the one that went really nicely with the grass green. And around this. Pull that over just a little bit. That's good. Right, that can go away. What colours am I going to? I'm going to put green, I think, there. So I can put the other colours away. The other brush in there. Oh, green. I've got some kitchen towel off to the side of me, kitchen paper, so that I can wipe my brush off and clean any paint residue before I go on to the next colour. Because I'm a bit, or if my brush is producing too much water. I like the blue and green together here. It's rather harmonious. That orange could do with just a bit more red, I think, or what is that? I don't want salmon. God's sakes, get grip. Permanent carmine. Let's have a look and see if I can just add a little bit of this red because I think that will really help it against the blues here. Just something that's a bit more orangey. Yeah, that really does help. It's complementary colours. I just love them. They make each other so much brighter. Is there anywhere else I'd like that? Not really. That was the only one where I felt it needed it. There we go. Right, let's move those out the way. Dunk. Right, they can go behind me for now. Ooh, pencil case. Pencil case, pencil case. No. Yes. Ugh. Don't have enough space on my desk for everything. So it goes behind me. Another drink. Okay. So I have got that. I've also got in here, I've got an 005 Staedtler pigment liner. Just another pigment liner, fine liner like Sakura or the Unipin or so many others. But I got the Staedtlers because they were a lot cheaper than Sakura, and I couldn't get the sizes I wanted quickly in the Unipins. Okay, so I am going to add some details here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on the side so hopefully you won't get too much shadow. This one, I'm going to put some little black dots as stippling at the bottom, and I'm going to have them just widening out towards the top so it adds some darkness and depth. Now, I can't get in any, well, I can get in closer to show you. Let's have a look. Where are we? There we go. All right. Sorry about moving the camera. What I've also got here, that one or the other? Yeah, let's go for this one. This is I don't know if you'll see it on the pen top, but it's a hybrid gel pen, Gel Grip DX, and this is by Pentel. This is white pigment gel ink that is permanent, waterproof when it's dried. Oh, 82 degrees. Feels like 90. Hey Google, what's 90 Fahrenheit in Celsius?
90 degrees Fahrenheit is 32.222 degrees Celsius.
32? Ah, thank goodness. I'm not sure what temperature it is here. According to my computer, it's 16 degrees Celsius at the moment. Anyway, so this dries waterproof and it dries very opaque. And I love it. And I've got a finer version. This is a 1.0 millimeter ball. It doesn't give a 1.0 millimeter line, and you can get quite small dots, but I'm just going to add some little white dots here, which may not be very dot-like, because I wasn't holding this completely upright. Just a couple going down there. And those with the black dots will add some interest and some fading. I don't like lines in this for some reason. But I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to add some dots going down from the middle, and then perhaps some that come like that, and maybe just some that radiate up that way. I think I'm going to put a nice big spot there. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to take my fine pen and I'm just going to add some fine lines there, some fine lines there, perhaps a couple there, just to add some like shadow. Just a bit. Didn't quite see that, apologise. Just put that down. Okay, here I'm going to do some patterning on this one. So I'm going to draw in some fine rectangles, some lines here, and then I'm going to use black to really make the colours hopefully shine a bit more, because black's really good for doing that. Everything looks better against black, in my opinion. I've told this story before, but in my labs at school, when I was teaching, every room I taught in, the notice boards were painted black. First time I asked for it to be done, the very first lab I taught in, first year there, um, they all looked at me as if I was mad, but they said, if that's what you want, yes, I do. So, so the deputy head in charge said, fine, I'll get the caretaker to do it. And when he'd done it and I'd put displays up, they said to me, well, we all thought you were crazy, but actually it looks really good. I said, yeah, everything looks good on black. And so I didn't need to ask if I moved rooms. I'm drawing some textures here, as you can see. I don't want to do too much because I don't want to lose the colour, but I want to do enough to make them a bit more than they are. I've looked on, it's like with these ones on this side, this is the start. What I do next, I don't know, but I've got plenty of ideas here. I don't know whether I'll do anything to these, because it may be that I need to try drawing on these with pencil and perhaps reproducing the idea with pen to see which I prefer. Because I've really got a liking for drawing, excuse me, for using pencils for drawings. And if you watch the video that should be live in half an hour or so, then I say live, not a live stream, but should be available to view. You'll see the work I've been doing and my explorations with using pencil instead of pen for drawing. And at first it felt very unnatural, very wrong. But the more I've done it, the more I feel this is something different. It's sort of like drawing with a grey fine liner, but it's not. It's a different quality of line. It's a different kind of line. and I'm not quite sure where I'm going with it, if I'm gonna go anywhere, but it's something that I want to keep doing, if that makes sense. So here I'm going to put on this one, I'm going to put a black one in the middle, and here I'm going to just put very thin black slivers on either side, and then perhaps a line there and one there. And then down the middle, she says, having left the lid off. Tip for this, if your pen dries up like this, just run it over the back of your hand. It will wash off your skin. It's not permanent on your skin, but on paper it pretty much is. And you can just, it will just start working again. Always remember to cap them. So I'm enjoying these extra little lines and delights I'm putting in. I have to say that. I'm really not sure what to do with this one other than part of me just wants to, could have done with using a thicker fine liner here. Surprisingly, the Staedtler fine line pigment liners seem to stand up to my heavy-handedness, for which I am grateful. I'll let that dry for a moment. Here I'm just going to add just a few more chevrons there, and perhaps one there, and one there, perhaps. Just thicken that now because I made a bit of a mess of it. It's hard to know, perhaps I will just convert that to a triangle bounding this in. I really don't like colouring with these very fine pens. But it'll be all right, I'm sure. Leave that one as it is. This one, I am going to put another little border in. But I think what I might do here is fill this up with seed-like things. So sort of like little circles nested one behind another, like so. So that actually works quite nicely. And then I can just pop a little bit of shadow on either side with my pen. Do I want to do any more here? And the answer is most probably yes. Down here, I'm just going to put some black spots there. And at the top, I'll most probably put some white spots along here. That, I hope, is dry enough, because I do want to put some white spots there, perhaps one there, one there, one there. And on this one, I'm going to put some white spots there, and I think I'll put some along the edge at the top, and perhaps some highlights on these, because why not? Yeah, less is definitely more. I'm learning that I know that when I draw, I can get overly complex in what I do, and I sort of like over egg it, as it were. I did this with a drawing, and I'm not disappointed, but I was able to see the difference because I took scans of it at different stages. I've done it at the last stage, and I can see that I've definitely gone too far with adding texture and things like that. Learning to leave open space is something I need to work with. I'm sorry, I keep banging my table and everything wobbles. One day I will get a more stable table. But it is that fine balance between too much and, knowing when enough is enough and when too much is too much. And I do struggle with that, it has to be said. But it's work in progress. Everything is. You can't be an expert at something overnight, and nobody is ever really an expert at everything or knows everything, because you have to experience things, don't you, in order to grow. Whereas you do things, if you stay doing the same thing over and over, you're never going to learn anything new or different ways of expressing yourself. Which is why I'm sort of like almost intrigued and interested about the use of pencil instead of pen, particularly with watercolors. And I think that with watercolors, that would work really beautifully because of the delicacy of watercolors. I like these very delicate washed out colors, which is so uncharacteristic of me, but I really do. Now there, I've added quite a dark side over here, and I will brighten this up with dots of white once it's all dried. I'll put some little highlights in these and along here. Part of me wants to put metallic colours there, but just popping some stuff here because adding just some more lines. Sometimes just adding those extra lines, even in the same colour section, makes all the difference. And I'm not in the right position really to add um, the little bits of inky glue to stick the lines one to another, like soldering stained glass, or add thickness of line. I've got the wrong glasses on for a start. And I've got things like cameras and lights in my way here, which is fine. It's not a problem. I'm trying to add some here. Excuse me. So this one, going to do some nesting V shapes. So I'm going back and forth here in different directions, and then the center or central piece like this, I will fill in like that, and I'll come back and put um, a white dot in there. So here I'm just going to put perhaps a black stripe at the edge and perhaps one part way along. That'll work. As will that. And perhaps it just adds some kind of edge to things. I do like borders. And even though um, this isn't anything complicated, there's just something nice about having those edges. And part of me thinks I could have done that to these other sections. I'm understanding the value of pale washes, Trevor. I really am. And paler colours. There's a wonderful delicacy about them. I can get my vibrant colours through markers, for example, but learning that I like these delicate colours with watercolours, things I can't get so easily with, say, marker pens. To be honest with you, all the pastel colours I've come across in marker pens are either in your face, almost neon fluorescent glowing, or they're just so insipid you can't tell there's anything on the paper. There's very few that are pleasant. In between, some of them look mucky and they're not nice colours. But being able to use watercolour in this way to get these very delicate colours intrigues me. To use them over a marker pen base would be interesting as well. To use coloured pencils with these to add extra shadow is something I do want to do. Because yes, I know I can add more colour or a different colour to add shadows, but with the paper I'm using, I know I will shift what's underneath because this is not watercolour paper. It's not designed for it. But it's a sketchbook. It's for trying things out and seeing what happens. And I haven't got my coloured pencils to hand, otherwise I'd dig some out. Let me go to these and have a look at these because I've drawn these in pencil, but I'm going to take a pen to them, to one of them anyway, and see, evaluate which way I like it. And of course, you can say whether you prefer the pen line or the pencil, or they've both got their charm, or neither of them. That'd be awkward, wouldn't it? So with the pen, I am adding inky glue And I can add extra ink here. I'm doing it on this one because it's that much bigger than the others. So I've got more space to work with, like so. And then from those points, I'm just going to run lines down from the center here. And perhaps I'll split these as well, like so. I'll do something similar with the next one because it's not too dissimilar a design. It's just the other way up with pencil. And let's have a look at the difference. I'm tempted to run these up, but I'm not going to. I'm going to do it with dots instead, starting with some bigger ones and then let them tail off naturally. So it's a bit more gentle. I'll leave that one as it is because I'm going to leave the ink to dry. This one I'm going to use the O3 Kuratoga pencil again. I think it has F in it. Or perhaps it's HB, I don't know for sure. And I'm just going over the pencil lines because the watercolor can sometimes cover over the pencil lines, especially as I did draw them fairly faint, believe it or not. By going over them, it just brings those lines back and redefines them. So we've got all of this going here. And what I'm going to do, I am going to add, I was going to say inky glue, it's graphite glue here. Just adding them to various parts of this, like so. So I'm going to do the same here that I did. The same kind of thing. It's just a little bit different, isn't it? Like so. So I've got those lines in. I'm going to go to the ends and just turn them into little triangular shapes, with glue, graphite glue, and the same here. And here I can put dots here, but I think I could do them with pencil. Yes, the pencil will show up. I've got this here, so I need to put some shading under here, perhaps some on that side. Some extra thickness on this side. There. So the shading and everything here is softer and subtler than pen. In fact, if anything, the lines are a bit thicker because, I'm using an instrument that's got thicker mediums in it. But one is much, much softer and gentler. The black one feels that little bit more cartoony. The other one feels, I don't know, just softer and gentler. So I'm going to put some white here for some highlights. And I think I may put the white on every other one. I've missed two if I know, that's fine. And here I'm going to put some white. Which I think I might do on each one. A big circle at the top and then smaller ones going down the edge like that. And I think I will pop white ones in all of that, like so. So I don't know how you feel about those, but I've got this blue in the middle, and I think I may just split it in half with the pencil line. Of course, from my point of view here, everything's all a bit sparkly and shiny. So with the graphite, but we've got things that are quite similar, yet different. I don't know which one I prefer. I have got some the Stabilo Carbothellos, and I have a love-hate relationship with them. I know they are water soluble as well as chalk, but there's just something, the colours, I'm not sure they go. I want something very subtle. Oh, so you like both of they're different. It's hard to tell which one of these ways is nicer. Yeah, it does look like an Egyptian fan. This looks like an Egyptian flower of some kind, you know, yeah, an Art Deco. I'm sure that Art Deco was influenced by Egyptomania, you know, and eventually, you know, is a couple of decades apart, weren't they? A few decades, but it's just figuring out whether I prefer the pencil. They've got their different points of view. I think if you watch the flip through I've done, I haven't got. Have I got them here? No, I haven't. I've been drawing people. I've been drawing little people. Danielle Donaldson, from Daniel, the help of Daniel Donaldson's books and things I've seen from her, just drawing on them for inspiration, trying to find my own way. And she uses pencil, not pen. But a good friend of hers uses pen, not pencil, to draw things. And it was interesting to see them drawing very similar kinds of characters, but in pencil and pen. And I didn't know. Try it. Let's keep going and see what happens. It's that exploration, it's things that aren't finished. It's the excitement, or the excitement, not the excitement, but the curiosity to see what happens, try things out, extend skills, build up a hoard of patterns and motifs and shapes I like, and so on, and just seeing what happens. And I can see the benefits of using pencil. I can see the benefits of using pencil very faintly, but the colours then just don't seem to be right for me without that edge. I haven't come across those, Judy. I'll look them up and see if I can get them. I used pastels, chalk pastels, and oil pastels during the time I was doing A-level art in school. A-level art is sort of like, um, it's in the UK, it's the exam that's a precursor to going to university to do a degree. I've got some of the Moonlight pens. I have got Moonlight pens. I have got some pastel gel pens. They're not easy to find in a good quality, shall we say. Um, I like the Signo ones, but I can't seem to get the Uniball Signo. I'll have to keep looking. It may mean that I'm going to have to sneak onto Amazon Japan again. I set an account up there so I could get something for my XP Pen graphics tablet, not tablet, but graphics screen thing, to help me work with that. Because yeah, my computer died on me, my Surface Studio died, and yeah, it was very sad. Oh, I've bashed that round. There we go. There you go. And I couldn't get it in the UK, so I went there to see if I could get it, and I did, and it was cheaper than I could have had it in the UK, and with free postage and packing. What can I say? Yeah, I haven't got the Holbeins. I I have or did have, is a question. I had or did have. Um, no, I do have, because they're in the same pot as the Carbothellos, are the Pitt Artist pastels. But there's just something about them. And I did do chalk pastels and charcoal and chalk for my A level, and I quite enjoyed them on a large scale. Are you talking? Oh, yeah, Derwent's got a pastel travel palette. That's watercolor, but I think I've got them, or I've had them in some sets. And again, they leave this kind of white filminess over things. They really dull down pen. These haven't dulled down the pen at all. I'm sure that if I used them in a really concentrated form, they would, but they don't. Ink tents don't leave that kind. Well, ink tents sort of do. They sit on the surface of the pen if you overgo the lines, but these don't. So there's no need to go back over the lines with pen. Here I use pen because I wanted to go over the pencil, but here I've only added pen, and there's no difference in the cleanliness of the black, the clarity of the black. There's no overcoloring of the black. Um, and that pleases me greatly. It's I've always loved that about the Albrecht Dürer. These aren't my first set of them, and I forget how much I enjoy using them like watercolor pans in a pencil form, by putting my brush on them. Having said that, I also like a lot of the watercolors I've got. But again, it's remembering that I need to use a lot more water, a lot less pigment, and that can be difficult for me. But it's I've got something in the way of what you've just said. Look at Star Gold Joy. I will look up these things and see about them, but I will figure, because I mean, once these are dry, I could use, hang on, where are they? Blech. Things like, I mean, this is the cobalt turquoise glasses, so I can see what I'm doing. Here's some cobalt turquoise, so I can add this to add patterns. Duh. Why didn't I think of that, Angela? And even better, is that a reddish yellow? Scarlet red. Oh, is there opaque like this? So I can add them. There you go. They go in. So I've been adding them. Let me just move that down for you. Oops. I get everything all wobbly. So these actually look pretty orangey red to me. Because they're actually quite opaque, these pencils, when you use them directly. So they're actually really quite nice. I can do things with this. So I could use them like coloured pencils to add that kind of pattern and texture on. In the same way, no doubt, this is the grass green. So I can just go in with some of that and add shadows. Duh. Do you know, I can be incredibly dense at times. Do you know that? Please don't tell me that I really am, but I am. I guess that's the beauty of watercolor pencils, is they work both as watercolors and as pencils. I think the water just brings out their luminous nature. I think it's luminous, the way they shine against whiteness of the paper. Not that this is very white paper, but just using the same colors just helps to bring some shadow in here. And if I wanted to here, I can just go over these pencil dots, some darker green perhaps, and just add some under there. I'm incredibly dense. I do apologise. So I can do things like that, which is lovely. Have I got a white here? I have got a, is that white? That's ivory. That's white there. So I could also add highlights in white. Let's have a look over here. The light doesn't show up very well, which is no surprise really. But let me have a look. This is dark red. So I can add shading like that. Don't know if it shows up very well. Oh, I can be incredibly dense because it never occurred to me that I could use what I know. I know in my head that watercolor pencils can be used like ordinary pencils. Never had I thought to use them like that with them. I think it's because they're always wet and I'm always scared of using them in case I get too much down. But that's a really I'm glad I stayed chatting for a bit on this because that has really given me something to scribble in here as a reminder. Not so much the colours I've used, but how I can use these to get those shadows in. So it actually works, doesn't it? It really does. Oh, there we go. That salmon has been desperate to come out for a while, so there we are. Actually, it goes nicely with the orange colour. Said it's been desperate to come out. And I'm going to get a colour's that one. Oh, there we go. So I can add patterns like that. So instead of using pen, I can use coloured pencils. So we're doing fine here. So I am going to say that I'm going to disappear and I'm going to have a sit down. I'm going to do some knitting because that's what I do. Oh, hang on. Let's move that back up so you can let's have a look, see if we can get the whole page in. And you can see that in, what is it? Oh gosh, it's been 2 hours. I've managed to fill this up with drawings. I've got some coloured in. I've discovered made use of the fact that you can use watercolor pencils like colouring pencils. Great. No more need to buy colouring pencils then, Angela. And use those to add patterns to these in colour instead of just black. That is something I'm not too comfortable with because I've never done it really. But it looks like I'm going to be going forward, which fills me with curiosity and others. I don't have polychromos. I don't like polychromos. You have to work so hard to get enough colour down. I do have odorless mineral spirits as well as what is it called? The orange one, citrus. I can't remember what it's called. And I do have blending stumps and so on. But I'm chuffed to bits with this because it means that I can, if I want to, I can activate them with tiny bits of water and bring their colour out. So I hope you found some inspiration. You've got some brilliant ideas there, Judy. I'm going to write things down in my book before I go. I know the Sakura Pasta, Holbein pastel pencils. I actually have some pastel pencils here, mid-tone pencils or harmonious pencils. I think they're by Castle Arts, but I know Holbein are really good brands. Derwent Star Gold Joy. What I do have are Prismacolors. I've got a full set of Prismacolors that I haven't used for a long time. I've got Albrecht Dürer watercolor pens. They don't have them in pastels. There's only 30 colors. But like all colors, it depends on the amount of water you use. because these pencils can be vibrant if you use a lot of pigment, and if you use a lot of water, they become very pastel-like. Um, so I say hello to the hedgehogs for me, Trevor. I'd say give them a little ruffle behind their ears, but you might get a bit prickled. So, so I do love them. They're so cute, piggy hogs. And say hello to the hoglet as well. I know hoglets. My favourite baby animal name is puffins. Baby puffins are called pufflings. I think that's so cute. They're pufflings. So lovely. So brilliant ideas. Thank you, Judy. I will look up a lot of those. And I'm going to say goodnight to you. Thank you for chatting with me in the chat. Sorry I've got engrossed in art from time to time. I'm glad you've enjoyed this, and I hope you've got some ideas. When I finish this page, I will post it for everybody to see. It might take me a while, though. I'm not sure when I'll be back, maybe tomorrow, maybe the day after. I shall see how I get on. I'm actually still feeling quite alert and full of energy, which is a good sign for me. So perhaps I'm over the hump of peopling, but then there'll be peopling at some point in time this week, so who knows? But I'll try, if I'm doing a live, I'll try and let you know well in advance. If I'm going to record a video and upload it, you'll get notifications. So enjoy the rest of your evenings, and I will see you again very soon. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care now. Bye-bye. Oh, that's so lovely. They're so cute. Oh, night night. Love to you and the piggy hogs. Love to everybody. Bye.